Hi there. Welcome to Giving Hope Counseling Services, where we speak life, healing, and hope into the hearts of those who need it most. I'm Peter Mugi, the Chief Counselor and Therapist at Giving Hope Counseling Services. And today, we are talking about something that is often whispered about in pain and only mentioned eventually when sometimes it is too late. Have you looked at someone who seems okay, smiling even, only to find out later that they were battling demons no one saw? Maybe you have pain yourself, like no one would notice if you disappeared, like the weight is just too heavy. If that's you, and you love this conversation, we are going beyond the statistics to talk not about just facts, but about real people and the real pain and the real hope. This topic that causes pain and is not normally talked about until it's too late is actually suicide. We want to discuss the topic of suicide, the causes of suicide, why it happens, and also we try to look at how we can prevent it from happening. So what is suicide? Suicide itself is not about weakness, and neither is it about giving up. Often it's just a cry for help. A way someone tries to escape the emotional pain that they feel is unbearable. It's a result of poor mental health or a mental health storm, usually driven by depression or other untreated mental health illnesses. Mental health is the engine that drives how we think, relate, and make decisions, and cope with life pressures. When it breaks down, everything in life falls apart too. What happens is we go into depression, anxiety, and trauma, and they all leave someone feeling like life isn't worth living. This happens, and sometimes when it happens, it is invisible. But always signs are there if we look very closely. Now, the signs we need to look out for to know that someone is viable to committing suicide. The signs or the things that push people to committing suicide are several, and we will relate a few. The first one is when, particularly in relationships, one has had a very painful breakup in a relationship. Some of us are not emotionally strong enough to be able to handle breakups. So a painful breakup is one of the things that can lead someone to commit suicide. Another one, and particularly for our children who are in schools, is failing in school. We always have incidences where a child fails to perform well in school and therefore feels they are no longer worthy living. So we always need to be a little bit careful about our children when they face failures in their examinations. That is a key thing that can lead our children to commit suicide. Then we also have people who are going into addictions. And addictions are many. We have those who go into drug addictions, alcohol addictions. These days we even have gambling as an addiction. Or even the ones that are not very common, pornography, you can go into pornography. All those addictions When somebody on their own try to find out that they are unable to come out of those addictions, that is a sure sign that such a person, when he feels unable to control this addiction, this can lead them to commit suicide. In schools again, we also have bullying. Our children can go to school, and a child is bullied by the others, and they are unable to resist the bullying, that is also a child who is liable to commit suicide. Then there are those people who lose a friendship or a relative, that is particularly through death, and such a person was so close to such a person, and they feel like the life is no longer worth living in the absence of such a person. So death of a very close friend, a close family friend, is also another thing that can lead to people to commit suicide. Again, you also have people, unfortunately, who can be in chronic pain. That is pain that continues even after they go to hospital. They are continually in pain. Chronic pain is also a sure sign of somebody. It can lead to somebody committing suicide because of frustration. Then there are also people in society who get to a point that they feel like they are like a burden in society because maybe they are unable to work, and they feel that they are unable to contribute and to maintain themselves. So when such a person feels that all they do is they get assistance from others and they are unable to maintain themselves on their own, feeling like a burden is also a sure sign of somebody that can lead them to committing suicide. Then, and this one is very key, there are people who are trying to talk about things to us or tell us things, but they feel like we are not listening. To whatever they are talking about, to them, it is something they consider very important, but those people close to them seem not to be listening. That kind of frustration, again, can lead people to commit suicide. Mostly we normally say actually that suicide is actually a call for help. And such a person, those people who commit suicide actually are calling for help. And what happens is that those around them are unable to notice the signs, and they feel frustrated because, according to them, no one is listening to them or seeing for what they are suffering from. So those are the major signs that one may look for, so that if anything like that happens, they see those we love suffering from those have those kind of signs. We need to be careful, because if we notice this early enough, we may be able to prevent one from committing suicide. Now, the actual signs that actually now somebody is actually thinking about suicide is when we start off by someone starting to talk about wanting to die, or they start expressing feelings of hopelessness. If you find someone talking about wanting to die, or they say they feel like they are hopeless and they are very hopeless, that now is a telltale sign that someone is thinking about suicide. Another one that may escape most of us is when you notice somebody suddenly has withdrawn from their circle of friends. Is no longer mingling with friends like they used to. Is not attending social events that ordinarily they would attend, or even associating with family members that they were used to associate. Another clear sign somebody is thinking about suicide is when somebody is like trying to prepare for not being there tomorrow. That they do this by giving away their personal belongings. If you see somebody with things they used to value so much, but it's like they are giving away all the things that they own, that is a sure sign that they are thinking of suicide and they are actually are preparing for it. The other one risk that one would see is when people start taking risks. For instance, if he's a driver, he's driving recklessly. Something that you know ordinarily they would not do. So when somebody is starting taking risks that ordinarily they would not take, those are signs that they may be thinking about suicide. Then also, when somebody feels frustrated and they start saying things like, I'm done. You will be better off without me. And what is the point? Please don't ignore it. It could be their cry for help. We now try to list down a few things that we could do to help our friends and our children, our friends, or family members from committing suicide. The first thing we need to be able to do is to talk, and really talk to people. When any of these signs we have mentioned starts happening, or somebody talks about being hopeless, or somebody saying that nobody is listening to them, can we first do the very first thing? Talk to them and listen to them. Anybody who wants to commit suicide, like I said before, is a cry for help. They are seeking for someone who can talk to them and who can actually listen to them and see whether the issues they are having are issues that can be sorted out. Again, we have said that some people who actually say they want, I'm thinking of committing suicide. When somebody starts such kind of talk, let us take them seriously. Let us not assume that you will not do it. You may assume today what you said, I'm thinking of committing suicide, and you assume it is just a joke, only to regret tomorrow when you find it was not a joke and your loved one has committed suicide. Then the other one is, obviously, to commit suicide, one requires tools to do it. For instance, they can hang themselves, they can use a knife, they can use a gun. So a good way when you sense that you are a member of your family or a friend who is thinking about suicide, the first thing you also do is to remove from him all the tools that are available to him that can enable him commit suicide. Then the last one, and very important, is that we can refer them to a professional. If you have a loved one going through stress, feeling hopeless, and all that, and you personally you've tried to talk to them, then please refer such a person to a therapist, to somebody they can talk to. If you are actually watching this and you have had suicidal thoughts, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not alone, and you are not broken, and you are not abandoned. You matter, and your story isn't over. If you have lost someone to suicide, I'm sorry. It's not your fault, and healing is still possible. And if someone you love is struggling, don't wait for the perfect moment. Reach out. Ask them directly, are you thinking of hurting yourself? It could save a life. If you or someone else is actually thinking about suicide or feels frustrated, reach out to us at Giving Hope Counseling Services. Together, we will talk, process, and work towards healing. You can reach out to us through our phone numbers 0721 240 462 or 0733 93 2470, or you can even email us at info@givinghope.co.ke.